everybody, this is Mimi T.
It's your boy, you know who it is. It's your boy Eric B on the ones and twos for the new segment for you, and yous.
I actually like that.
You really?
So, as I had promised before, I really wanted to do cultural videos. So, welcome to the first cultural video. They're gonna be called Let's Talk. That's it.
I like it.
Let's talk. Because they're gonna be questions that have to do with Korea. There'll be questions about life in general. There'll be questions about anything, really. Anything.
Wow, this is gonna be a good segment on this.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so we're gonna have different people switch it for different subjects too. Today we're gonna be talking about Korea and Japan, obviously, because Japan
me
would be Eric.
That's your boy.
And I would be the answers to Korea.
I went to Japan from January of 2016, I believe. False. January 2017.
Yeah.
Until June of 2017.
And then I went to South Korea spring 2016. And so we were both there for a semester.
That's right.
Yeah. I plan on going back. He plans on going back. I plan on living there.
I plan on being there for an extended amount of time. Yes.
Yeah. What we're gonna do, because I asked you guys to put questions in the video, in the comment section, and so we're just gonna go ahead and read off what we find. Girly Eyes 11. She wrote a very big paragraph, and I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just gonna go down because she did like recommendations first.
Got you.
But we did see your comment.
We saw it.
She said, hey, I know you guys might not see this since it's kind of late. We got you. But I'm glad you guys are okay and that you're taking care of yourselves.
Thank you.
As for questions, can you tell me what it's like to be black in Asia since I'm a colored individual myself? Is there a lot of racism there? If so, how's it shown?
Ooh, interesting.
And then she has a part 2 to her question, but we're going to do part 1 first.
Okay.
So the way that I want to do these segments is I know that a lot of them are going to be heavily loaded questions.
Yes.
So we're only going to do like 3 or 4 questions a video. And mind you guys, these are our experiences. We cannot attest to anybody else's but ourselves and what we went through, our personal like emotions and everything that happened and our anything kind of connected. We can't speak on anybody else, okay? And we're not generalizing every single person that would be Japanese or every single person that would be Korean. These are the people we met at that time in that occasion, okay? So keep those things in mind. Was there racism in Japan?
What is it like to be colored or specifically a black male in Japan? I can tell you about that experience through and through. My experience was amazing. In regards to racism, there are 2 answers to your question, so I'm sorry if this seems like an unclear line, but it is an unclear line.
Oh, pause. Eric is a philosophy major,
yes.
So these talks are gonna get deep.
Sometimes.
Disclaimer.
Yes.
Just to let you guys know.
Go ahead. Thank you. Well, I'm not a philosophy major. I have my philosophy degree.
Well, he has his philosophy degree, but he's very good at his field.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, thank you.
We have great conversations.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. As a black man in Japan, I feel like you have an advantage because people like that. Japanese people specifically, especially ones in my age group. I'm 22 years old. So in my age group, I would say from, let's say, I would go all the way from 35 maybe. So from like 18 to 35, they love black people in my opinion. It's not one of those countries where they have stereotypes of their own. They sort of have to adopt stereotypes from others. But you know, when you don't live in a stereotype and you're adopting it, it's hard to actually believe in it. You sort of just think it. But you see a black guy, you might just be like, hey, I heard about this. Is this true? They don't really have the stereotypes in their society or culture. Also, you know, I spoke the language really well before I went, so that was an advantage. So other people might not experience it, but I mean, other people might experience some racism, but I didn't really experience any racism from being specifically black. But I did experience racism a couple of times from going out.
So you mean like there was a certain behavior that you were performing that made people react a certain way to
not me. Not me, exactly. So it wasn't me, so it's hard to speak about, but
story time.
Yes. I didn't want to tell the whole story, but I was at lunch with about 4 or 5 friends, and there was this one Caucasian woman of my age who was with us, and she was sort of drunk and a little loud at the table, but we were all laughing, grooving with her. She was never loud to the point that any of us had to look over to her and tell her, like, you know, hey, like, chill out. You know what I mean? So that should tell you she wasn't doing anything outrageous. She was just sort of loud, laughing out loud. And you know, people were staring at us. They were speaking in Japanese and saying rude things, thinking I wouldn't notice because, I mean, I was one of like the 5 people there that knew Japanese. The other 4, out of the other 4, I think only one other guy, my friend Caleb. You know Caleb.
Yeah, hi Caleb.
Hi Caleb. Caleb, he could speak Japanese too, but was he
Japanese
there?
very well.
Yeah, we were good. I don't know if he was there or not, but I do have a picture. But yeah, they were rude and they were being rude. Even when it came time to pay, we were playing separately and we had our American cards and it was sort of a hassle. So the owner was a little extra rude to us. But once I spoke to him afterwards and said, sorry about the car situation, it's just we're trying to figure things out. We just got here. He was like, he kind of apologized to me too. So I don't know if, I would call it racism because they definitely treated us that way because we were foreigners. But
that's the key word right there.
That's a fact.
That's the key word.
That's a fact. Because we were foreigners, they made it obvious that they were shunning us. As far as me being black and a male, all of that came to my advantage, I think. It helped.
So, with my experience, my thing is, there's a difference of being a person of color and a foreigner. Korea love black people.
There you go. I need to go to Korea.
They love black people, okay? That's how I was welcomed there. And it made it even better, the fact that I could speak their language. There's a difference between being black and being a foreigner. It's because there are foreigners that I have seen, like with my own eyes, that don't care for the culture. They don't care for the language. They don't want to try and immerse themselves while they are there.
That's the most important.
And that attitude gets put on foreigners as a whole, and so that's why people are rude or they're standoffish to foreigners. Person of color and you can speak the language, oh, you're gold, bro. You're good. you really don't have that much to worry about.
Really, I mean, God, I don't even want. I can't even talk about how many times I got free things. Things were bought for me all the time.
I just had a very good experience. When it comes to racism, I'm gonna say I'm way more comfortable in Korea than I am in America, for sure. Safety wise, comfort of my own skin wise, like that's a whole political discussion we could have in another video.
Wow.
Just about racism in itself.
Very true.
But Koreans don't see black people on the daily. Most of the time they have never like actually seen a black person outside of a music video that they've seen on the internet. The hip hop culture is, and they attach it to black people. So they find it fascinating and they love it and they're like, y'all are so cool. So my story time.
Yeah.
Me and my friend Nana, shout out to Nana.
Hi, Nana.
We were going out and everybody is lined up in the streets. We were in Hongdae. Hongdae is a big party city. And that's where all the clubs and bars are and everything. So we were just walking and this guy pops out of the line and he was like, hey, yo, what's up, man? And I was like, 안녕하세요. And he was like, oh my God, I am so sorry. I didn't mean to like be rude or anything. And he said all of that in Korean because when I responded to him in Korean, it switched his whole attitude. You look at me and then I start spitting in Korean and you look at Eric, he starts spitting in Japanese. You're going to be so confused. You're going to be like, wait a minute. Hold on. And I get that reaction all the time. If you show them that you're trying to learn their culture and you're actually taking the time to learn their language, it's an appreciation that they have. And so if I was in trouble or if I couldn't figure something out and I asked someone in Korean, they were so patient with me. Wow. And they were like very helpful in whatever it is that I was trying to do. So my personal experience was fine.
Wow.
As for females with hair like this, it didn't happen to me, or with just braids too. It didn't happen to me personally, but there were some people that were there at the time that I knew where random people did grab out and touch their hair. So that part, that is true. That it just really depends on the person. It was only one time that there was an actual like racist moment, and I'm just gonna make it quick. I was on a train, there was an older couple, and my friends were with me, and all of us have darker skin shades, and she kind of just went down the line and was like looking at all of us, and then until she got to me. The thing is, and we're going to talk about this too, because this was another question about staring. When people stare at me in Korea, I stare straight back. That's how I handle the staring. I just stared back until it made them uncomfortable, and then they just stopped looking at me. Because you will have, especially the older generation, I don't know how it is in Japan, but in Korea, the older generation will stare you down until their eyes fall out. I don't know why.
Plenty of staring. I have plenty of stories about that.
Oh my God, the staring. We'll talk about the staring. But I was staring back at her, and so she whispered something to her husband. Her husband looked back, and he looked at me, and then he put himself in front of her so that she couldn't see me. And then she peeked around him to look at me again, and then she whispered something, and he took a coffee can and put it in front of her face over his shoulder so that she couldn't see me. And then she moved around again to look at me again, and she looked like she was scared. I'm an intimidating person naturally, so that's probably what it was. But outside of that, that was the only racist kind of interaction that I had, but there was no blunt out racism here.
Right. Exactly.
So I hope that answers your question.
Yes. One more thing.
Yes.
One quick, I'm gonna call it a story, but this will take no longer than 30 seconds. I was at a sukiya, and if you know anything about Japan, you know what that is. I was at a sukiya with a couple friends. We were chilling. This old Japanese guy, and Japan is full of Japanese people. It's not many foreigners there unless you're like in Tokyo. Full of Japanese people, so the older ones probably never seen a foreigner before in their life. Like seriously,
like in actuality, they just don't.
They
simply don't
and
know.
We are not saying this to fit our facts or our stories. This is a real life.
This is an actual thing.
I literally feel as though the older people I met in Japan have never seen foreigners before. They act like they've never talked to anyone foreign before, and I can believe it. But
100%.
Old drunk guy, like 80 years old, drunk, having a good time, doing his own thing. He saw me and my friends staring at us really bad. Saw that we were ordering our stuff in Japanese, and I swear to God, he paid for all of our food. Cannot make this up. He was like, "You're speaking Japanese?" Blah blah blah. And he was like,
"There you
what? Like I can't believe this."
Yeah.
And he paid for our food. He was drunk. He left us alone after that.
It's literally appreciation.
It's just like, wow, you immerse yourself in our culture. You're not even one of us.
Anywhere near what we are.
Right, exactly. They love it.
And that's just how it was. And now every single black person that has gone to Japan or Korea is not going to have the same experience with us. Some have had bad experiences.
That's true.
Some have had very good experiences. That's just what happened with us. So I hope that answers your question.